Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, ladies and gentlemen, let's go over the market. Let's talk about what in the flying hell just happened and what we can expect moving into next week and essentially maybe even the rest of the month. So guys, Tesla, the market is still open for about 10 more minutes. I'm recording this a little bit early, but nonetheless, Tesla ending the day down significantly, down almost 8%. I don't know what price it'll actually close at, but I can't imagine it being all that much higher than like 206. It's probably going to close around 205. So pretty much down 7.5 to 8%, which is insane, right? Oh, that's quite a bit. That is that is quite a fall. And this is why yesterday I was warning you guys. Like I kept saying, I'm like, guys, I've seen this picture before. It doesn't mean it has to happen. But that there's a reason why I said yesterday I not only de-risked on this green, but also on the SPY I did get some puts. Now I did exit the puts a little bit early because I'm just really bad at holding puts. In all honesty, it's just not much trading style. But nonetheless, still made about $1,000 on those puts. I'll take it, of course, not complaining. But this is kind of why I said it, ladies and gentlemen. It's just, man, it really sometimes do be like this. You know what I mean? Where you have this massive bear trap into a massive bull trap. Like I said, we didn't break out of this, like I also mentioned. And yeah, we pretty much just collapsed right underneath, right? It's sometimes really just that easy. And in this case, it was, right? So we collapsed underneath and, it's not looking that great for Tesla right now. I'll be completely honest. I wouldn't be surprised if Monday is a bit more red. That would not surprise me whatsoever. Technically, the worst case scenario I see realistically for Tesla right now, honestly, would be an absolute crash down to 180 something. I don't think it'll happen, but we essentially another day like today and we were already there, right? So that to me is a realistic worst case scenario before we get an actual relief bounce, right? I do still think the relief bounce is on its way. I really still believe that. But, like I said yesterday, it was a bullish candle, but, I called it. I specifically said it several times to you guys. I warned you guys, sometimes when we pump on these like horrible numbers, it just ends up being such a bait, such a trap. My goodness, was this a trap, right? So yeah, Tesla pretty much gave up all his gains yesterday and then some. So nonetheless, pretty much what I see happening right now, boys and girls, is the fact that, the realistic worst case, like I said, is dropping down to the touching this line one more time, which will pretty much bring us down to about the 180s area, which if that happens, I'm personally, a big buyer there. I have reserved cash that I told myself I'm not touching until we hit the 180s. So, if we hit there, like maybe even Monday, who knows, but I don't think so, but it's possible, then I'm definitely a buyer. We'll see. But nonetheless, I do think the rally, the actual like reversal, some breathing room, I still think it's close. I definitely think we're still gonna get one. Again, the main thing that you want to pay attention to is essentially just like I said, you want to pretty much break out of this you pretty much want to break out of this yellow line, right? You want to essentially break out of it. You don't want to be stuck in here like we are right now, more or less. And, like I said, you want to kind of go above this 225-ish level, maybe even 226, and you want to hold above it. That's the most important thing. You can see we did go above it, but we didn't hold very long. We collapsed pretty quickly. If you even go on the 15-minute chart, you can see not even a 15-minute candle closure, not even a 5-minute, right? So, it wasn't looking great, right? We got sucked back down quite aggressively, and then we just sold off the whole day. And it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if this actually potentially was the 5-day moving average. Let's find out. It probably was, honestly. Oh, actually, never mind. We're well below the 5-day moving average now. Pretty much almost the 10-day moving average is where we got slapped back down. The Bollinger Band, we're potentially going to be revisiting the red line once again. I don't think we actually will touch it, but I think we'll get pretty close. It's definitely a possibility. But like I said, realistic worst case scenario, guys, the 180s. The realistic, not worst case scenario, but I guess, I don't know, maybe neutral or like slightly bad scenario would be pretty much touching the 200 and then bouncing off of that. So we'll see what happens with that. That's currently what I'm seeing. However, on the flip side, the bullish divergences are setting up, which is a good sign. We have, you can see on the 4-hour, for instance, if we zoom in over here, you can see as we are making lower lows, the RSI is actually making higher lows, which is great. On the 4-hour now, that's starting to happen, which is a good sign. So I do like to see that. So we are holding strong there, which is, a good start. I do like to see that. The 3-hour, the 1-hour, the 2-hour, whatever, all these bad boys. The 1-hour is my favorite time frame to look at it for like a medium, time frame for like the next like maybe week or something like that, maybe even 2 sometimes. But, the 1-hour is definitely showing a more obvious bullish divergence. So you can see we're just kind of making it's pretty obvious like higher lows here, right? Even compared to all the way back here we're still making higher lows all the way back to here, here. Like the stock is just plummeting down, and then we're just still making higher lows, right? This is why I always call this a lagging indicator, because just because we're doing it, it doesn't mean the reverse has to happen right here or right now. It just means that, you know, it's in theory gonna happen pretty soon. It's just a matter of, like, you know, really setting up for it. And I do believe we are setting up for it. So that's essentially what I'm seeing at the very moment, ladies and gentlemen. Taking a quick look at the weekly candle as well. That is not what I wanted. Taking a look very quick at the weekly candle. We're going to remove the drawings for now, just so you can get a better look. You can see we are getting a very bearish looking weekly closure here. We're closing at pretty much the lowest price since all the way back in these days over here in June of 21, right? So just over a year ago, right? And I mean, even honestly, all the way back in March of 21, even honestly, all the way back in December of 20, almost a year ago, right? We're pretty much at those levels to about a year, about a 1 to 2-ish years ago, right? So we're definitely revisiting some old levels here, and you know, you can see just by off of this right here, it's quite obvious, right, that we have a lot of potential support coming out at these like 180 levels, a lot of, you know, long wicks right around this kind of, you know, 190 to as low as, you know, 180. This 190 to 180 has a lot of, in theory, support, where we had a lot of wicks that, you know, kind of show a lot of buying pressure. But again, if this fails to hold, guys, I think the next obvious level is going to be all the way over here, which will be this 150 range, which I personally think is, you know, obviously getting more and more likely of it actually happening. I still think there's a decent chance of it happening. Like, honestly, before I said 10%, it's probably like at least 20% now, in my opinion, of it happening. However, with that, all that being said and done, on top of everything I just said, why I think a reversal is on its way, personally, I believe, again, I could be wrong, not financial advice, right? You know, you can take a look at the SPY, you know, it's not selling off anywhere near as hard as Tesla, by the way. Tesla gave up all these gains. Tesla's like all the way down here, the SPY is here. So Tesla is actually showing a lot of weakness recently, and it's actually doing pretty bad, right? But the thing is like, the thing with Tesla, though, you have to keep in mind, now that we are at, we're actually lower than the June lows, which, you know, in a way is a good sign. I know it sounds weird to say, but it is. And the reason is because the market is also lower than their June lows very slightly. So we have actually caught up to the market, in my opinion, for Tesla. So Tesla, in my opinion, it should just be following the market now, at least to some extent, after, you know, these kind of moves right here resolve, which is a good start. Another thing to keep in mind that's very suspicious to me. So yesterday when the market was soaring, the VIX was, I think, actually red, I think, or it was pretty flat or something. I can't remember exactly. That was suspicious. However, on the flip side, today you can see the market is pretty much crashing, right? Like quite aggressively down, like 3% for QQQ is, you know, quite a lot, right? 2.32% for SPYs, you know, a decent amount, like 8% almost for Tesla, right? But the VIX is barely green. Like, it's barely doing anything. It's just hardly in the green, while the market's falling this aggressively. That to me smells a little bit of, you know, some suspicion. And the reason I say that is because, well, clearly people aren't as panicked yet, which, you know, some people as a bear maybe will argue that the fact that, you know, the real panic isn't here yet, which I do agree. However, because the VIX isn't really dropping anywhere near, or sorry, it isn't climbing while the market is dropping, and the VIX is essentially flat for the most part, that to me tells me that the reversal, or a reversal, should be very, very close, because usually when they move in tandem, or at least it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So for instance, when the market's falling, the VIX is barely green, or vice versa. If the market's skyrocketing, the VIX is barely red, that's usually suspicious, and that usually means the opposite move should in theory be coming, you know, relatively soon. So that's something else to consider. Now, unfortunately, on the daily, we are making rather lower lows, which isn't great, which to me tells me that Tesla's overall ultimate low is most likely still not in. You know, as unfortunate as that is to say, it's still not in, right? It is what it is. So I personally still think there's a decent chance we drop to 180, maybe even soon. But that to me is the realistic worst case scenario. And then unfortunately from there, after that, I still think we can drop another 20%, which sounds insane, but yeah, it is what it is. But I don't think this will happen before a relief rally. I definitely don't think we'll go below like this 180-ish level before we get like an actual relief. Not like this one-day bullshit. I mean like an actual, you know, like potential multi-week or something like that reversal, a little bit of a relief. And on top of, and the final thing I want to note, guys, is so on top of everything else I just said, the SPY also making a beautiful looking bullish divergence still as well, right? Which is looking quite nice. Making lower lows on the stock, the SPY, you know, on the daily, making beautiful higher lows, which is great to see, not too bad whatsoever. But on top of everything else, guys, I do want to also mention the fact that it just seems like a lot of retail right now is very bearish, and it seems like a lot of retail is just getting a lot of puts, man. Like a lot of retail seems to be just gobbling up puts right now, thinking the market's about to just completely crash. It's over. You know, call your mom, call your dad, call whoever else you need to call. It's over. Buy puts, guys. It's about to print. And I don't know, man, that's a little bit suspicious. When too many people in retail are doing this, you know, it makes me kind of wonder, you know, is it really going to happen? You know, are we really about to crash? I don't know. You know, it makes me a little bit suspicious. I don't like the fact that a lot of people are just thinking puts is just the way to go right now. I think the market will probably humble them down pretty quickly. So that's just the way I'm thinking right now. I did buy today. I actually, you know, this is why I de-risk. I did sell some more puts for 205 for next Friday, and I bought shares at 209. And I bought shares at like 211, which obviously is a little early, but I'm not like all in. Obviously, I have, you know, more buying orders set in the low 200s, and I have, you know, more buying orders that I'll have like if it hits a 180. But I am a buyer at these levels, absolutely. Again, I'm buying the fear. I'm not scared. I don't really give a shit. I'll be honest. It's not money I need for a long time, so I'm buying the fear. No problem for me. But yeah, either way. Ultimately, I do see an ultimate reversal. So if we're actually going to get a reversal, again, assuming this is the low, I don't think it will be. I think we might go a little bit lower on Monday, but assuming just, you know, in theory, this is the low, you know, we potentially might get a reversal up to maybe 236, potentially even as high as this 246, which still will line up with this line over here, which I still think is very possible. I definitely think that's, you know, a very high possibility of happening once we get an actual relief rally, which I still think will happen. Honestly, probably sooner than later. So we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I'm seeing for right now. Could be completely wrong. Again, none of this is financial advice. Tesla for some reason is down 0.4% after market because, you know, why not, I guess, right? What's going on? Let me see something. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter. Hope you guys enjoy the weekend. Let me know what you guys think down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys for the next updates on Monday. So until then, peace, peace, peace.